Good evening. I'm going to call the June 11th, 2024 agenda meeting to order. I'm here. Councilmember Brennan, Councilmember De La Rada, Councilmember McPartlin, Councilmember Moskowitz, Town Attorney Finnan, Deputy Supervisor Joe Drescher. We also have in attendance Eric Amberger, Elizabeth Greenwood, Chief Koshin, Michelle Martinelli, Diane Percy, Lori Peretti, Laura Robertson, Ray Smith, Matt Yetto, and resident Leslie Gold. Before moving on, we wish to respectfully acknowledge that Niskayuna is on the traditional lands of the Kanikihaka and the Mahikanac peoples, past and present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the peoples who have stewarded this land throughout generations. Okay, we will begin with the Public Works Committee.
Okay, first resolution is a resolution to appoint an engineering tech. Nick, who is our current engineering tech, is unfortunately moving out of the area, and we're going to lose him. He was a great asset to the town and to our department. So we're reluctantly looking for a replacement, and I've interviewed 2 people so far. I've got another interview on Thursday. I should have a name before the meeting.
And I have good news, Matt. The meeting is a Thursday this month, so you don't need to get it to me on the 19th, which is actually a holiday. So I thought you had one last day. You're actually going to have until Friday the 21st.
Oh, excellent. Okay, great. Thank you. Next resolution is resolution to authorize a fence easement agreement for 948 Douglas Court. Nick has sent all the information over to Elena, so that should be ready to go. And the next one is another fence easement agreement. This one is for 1905 Union Street, and I believe the information was sent over this afternoon, so we're all set with that as well. The next one is a resolution to award a contract to install water service at River Road Park in conjunction with the proposed splash pad and future bathroom. The RFP is complete, and I'll be sending it out tomorrow. And I will have proposals will be due next week, and we should be able to award that contract for this month.
That's incredible. Really great turnaround. Thank you.
Hopefully everything goes smoothly with it, and we can keep going forward. The sewer portion of the project is going to break ground. Looks like next Tuesday. So the materials are being delivered this week, and then we'll start on that. The next resolution is to tentatively appoint a maintenance worker. I left it on there. We have open advertisement for applications. We sort of went through everyone that we had. We hired 2 last month, so I'm waiting for some new applications to come in. If anyone comes in that's worth a look from us, we'll do an interview and I'll forward the name along. But as of right now, I don't have a name. Next one is to authorize the first quarter corporate utility warrant for this year. Meeting with Chris Lachinsky tomorrow to go over the last minute numbers. We'll be ready to go with that as well. I left on there the next resolution is a tentative one for appointing seasonal workers. We're still looking for kids that want to come and work for us for the summer. I had one that I thought was going to work out and ended up getting a job somewhere else. So the type of work is mowing, weed whacking, and painting fire hydrants. So if we can find someone, I think we have as many as 3 budgeted in this year's budget. Hopefully that will happen, and we can catch the second half of the summer and get some work done.
Matt, what is the age?
It's typically first-year college students or kids that are just graduating from high school.
So 18 and over.
It's better for us if they are. Yeah, we have more ability for the different types of tasks that they have to do. The next resolution we do not need. It was going to be a change order for a pipelining contract. I met with the contractor. They acknowledged that they made a mistake. So we got a section of pipe lined that wasn't supposed to be lined. It was on our long-term list, so we got it done for free. So they ate the cost, and there's no need for a change order.
We call that a win-win.
Yes. And the last one is a resolution to authorize payment of a maintenance contract. It's a 3-year contract for the maintenance of the emergency generator at the wastewater treatment plant. The total cost is just over $10,000, but that's spread over the 3 years. We're only billed as they perform each individual task. The total cost requires a resolution. That's all I have. Any questions? We're good? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, moving on to Highway, Parks, and Recreation.
Number 10 is a resolution to hire seasonal worker in the Highway Department, Parks Department. So one of the kids that we did reso for seasonal work found employment elsewhere. So we're just replacing him with another applicant that we had come in. Beth has all the stuff to do the process and then get that to Elena. So that should be on for the end of the month. Number 11 is a resolution to hire a grounds worker. So we scheduled a bunch of interviews from applications that we had. I'm thinking this is going to push on till next month. Some of the later interviews that people were available to come in are too close to the town board date. So we'll let it go a month and get our best applicant out of that. Number 12, a resolution to authorize surplus items. This was something I brought to our committee meeting, and this is as we are aware that some of the purchases from this year are coming in. We like to get these resoed and put them on the auction at the right time so that we get the most money for those pieces of equipment. So we'd like to get them on ahead of time before we get our new equipment. 13 is a resolution to authorize the purchase of a pickup truck with a plow. So this was a pickup truck that we did a mini bid 2 years ago. At the end of COVID, when chips were unavailable, this was a spec build truck that never got built at the factory, so the dealer could not give us this truck. We've held the money this far, so we're going to do another mini bid. We couldn't find this truck on the Onondaga County bid, which we normally buy them off of. We did locate 3 different dealers out west that are not on the Onondaga County bid. But all 3 were willing to mini bid the truck. All 3 have the same truck in stock. And the pricing from the spec sheets are right around just what we just paid for this year's current truck. So we should be right in line there. We have the money to do this. There's no extra money needed. Everything is in our budget to buy this. So we have to produce the mini bid and get that filed. So I'm not sure that we can make the deadline for the town board meeting because it has to be posted for a certain amount of time, accept the bids, and then review them. So I think the time frame will be too close, but if for some reason it works out, I will certainly get the paperwork to Elena ASAP. And I think that's it. I think it's Lori. Any questions?
Just quickly, the Aqueduct Park, is the bathroom working good, isn't it?
Correct. Yep.
Yes, very good. That's been a great asset, I think, to the crew members and people using the park. I know when my daughter was in crew, it was before the roundabout, and it was no facilities there. There wasn't even places to stand and watch the crew like there is now. So it's been a 180-degree turn. Thank you.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
is a really good bathroom, and Laura did a really great job in facilitating all that.
Yes.
And I know the people, Pedal Paddle Run, really enjoy having that down there compared to what we used to have to do. So
Absolutely. And the
It-
traffic circulates a lot better since the roundabout was done and people coming in and out. And even with Rivers Ledge.
Rivers
right?
Ledge, a lot of people walk that path and
That's
end up
awesome.
down there in that park. So yes,
Yeah.
it's been a very good
That's
asset
great.
to everybody.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello. Number 14 is a resolution to hire seasonal employees and independent contractors. These are just a couple of more names that we have to put in due to some children who found other employment. So we're just filling in the gaps. Number 15 is a tentative resolution to adopt the new Town of Niskuna AED policy and designating the a public access defibrillator coordinator. As Beth had spoken about this during finance, this has been quite a process. Chuck Assini, Jean Fody, and Beth Greenwood, and the safety committee have done an amazing job. So to get this done before the summer playground program gets moving is quite a feat, and it was needed. So kudos to them.
Good job.
And number 16 is a resolution to accept the Schenectady County Arts and Culture Grant Award. That was previously the SIP grant. Last year, we were awarded $1,500. This year, I applied for $2,500 to account for the movie night, and we were awarded $2,500. So special thanks to the county for awarding us this bid.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Lori. Okay, and moving on to Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation Committee.
Number 17 is on for the special meeting tonight, and that is a resolution to accept a public access easement from Robert Geralaman in conjunction with the Jonathan Place subdivision. This is down off of Empire Street and Leishakill. It is an easement that would allow a future multi-use connection should future subdivisions occur, but it would be a critical piece that I recommend that we take now so that if we're ever able, if the adjacent land subdivides, we'd actually be able to build a multi-use path from Leishakill approximately over to Birchwood. So this is a piece we would need. 18 is a resolution to accept a public access easement from Betsy Ryan in conjunction with the 2239 Van Antwerp Road 2-lot subdivision. Same idea. I didn't have the papers ready in time for the special meeting, but this is an easement for a multi-use path along Van Antwerp Road. Both of these were a requirement of the planning board for subdivision, and it would allow us additional lands if we were able to work with the county or the county was doing it themselves to put a multi-use path or a sidewalk along Van Antwerp from Crimson Oak to Knott Street. That'll be on for the actual regular meeting. Number 19 is a ceremonial resolution recognizing Kevin Walsh for his many years of service on the Planning Board and Zoning Commission. As stated at the Finance Committee, Kevin gave us a month, which is not nearly long enough to replace someone who has worked for the town for more than 25 years. But he is fully engaged with some of the other things he volunteers for and ready to open up a new chapter. He loves the Legion that he worked for in Clifton Park, and he was on the board for the Glen Eddy, and he's just totally doing all kinds of things, and he's ready to go. And we are not ready for him to go, if anybody's wondering. And we said all of that to him at the planning board meeting at the last night. But so it's unusual to have someone serve that long and with such distinction. So I've got a couple things planned. I'd like to do a ceremony at the town board, a ceremonial resolution. I believe he can make June 27th. I'm just double checking that with him. I've got his resume. I can work with Michelle to get the exact dates and everything, and then go through some of the projects and just talk about the ways that he has truly shaped the town of Niskuna and just been such an asset to us. The planning board will also do their own resolution on July 8th, which is actually the next planning board meeting because of early voting. And then the other thing that I want to do is I'll let you guys know the date, but I would like to do like a thank you party for him, probably out in the gazebo somewhere with like cupcakes and whatever else I can think of. So I'll send you guys an email with all those dates so you can plan them. I'm gonna send it to the planning board too. I'll just copy both boards. And then if you have, I know like Bill, you've interacted him a lot, John. If you guys have anything specific that you want to add in there, just let me know. Because I think 25 years deserves as much that we can put in there as possible. He's truly an amazing guy and we're going to miss him.
Absolutely. Thank you for working on that.
Yeah. Number 20 is a resolution accepting a grant from NYSERDA for $10,000. I talked to Ray about this and he's okay to purchase electric lawn and tree maintenance equipment. He did request that I get a electric equipment catalog to him. But they already have some electric equipment in the highway department. So and they like a certain brand. So what we're going to try and do is work with what they already have and then just build out from there. The $10,000 is through the Clean Energy Communities. It's actually Clean Energy Communities. And if we can, I think we can just accept the grant and with the idea of purchasing electric lawn, but if we need a whole list, it might have to be pushed into July. I'll work with Elena on what exactly is needed on that, but it's essentially a rebate for the building inspectors doing their appropriate clean energy energy code training. So that works really well for us. We do a little bit of work and they give us $10,000 so we can do more. I appreciate their program very much.
Thank you for working on that.
Mhm.
Dare I say, when I spoke to Ray about this, before I spoke to you, just based on the email you sent, he had quite a few ideas to share with me already.
I'm really glad.
So I think we're, yeah, maybe.
I was pleasantly surprised to see Ray contemplating going electric. It's a big step.
Well, small steps.
I mean, we did talk about him in the future getting an EV truck.
Oh,
No, that's a lie.
Oh no, we could do it. Yeah, I'm really excited. So I think we can put together a really good package. He knows to go to $10,001, and that'll be a really good use of that money. It ties into the Quiet Niskayuna initiative that we're working on, better for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and health. And so I'm very glad that the highway department is willing to work with on that and us on that, and very thankful. Number 21 is a resolution to appoint a member of the tree council. Erin has her resume. She'll send it out to you guys per the policy, I think, hopefully as soon as we can. Her name is Margaret Bloom. She is a master gardener, retired from GE. She has a PhD. Lovely human, and just because likes trees and planting very much, and just retired. So she's looking for places to volunteer her time, and I think we should snatch her before somebody else does. She's really, really cool. She came to our last tree council meeting. Number 22 is a tentative resolution to appoint a chairperson to the Planning Board and Zoning Commission. I do not know if it'll be ready. We have a couple options for Planning Board chairperson. I've reached out to a couple people to see if they're willing, trying to build a consensus to figure out what is the best next chapter for the Planning Board. I said it's going to be very hard without Kevin, but we'll putting our feelers out, working on people who are available, and then put together like a list that we could choose from probably.
Which is what prompted us to have this
The whole chairperson conversation.
more in-depth
Yes.
conversation, which is good. It's going to make the process better and more transparent. And so despite Kevin leaving and all of his institutional knowledge and his great leadership, we're using it as an opportunity to get better ourselves.
Which hopefully he'll appreciate, because I think he would like that.
you would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would. Number 23 is a tentative resolution to call for a public hearing on a local law creating a no parking zone on Grand Boulevard and installing a bicycle lane. The Complete Streets Committee and I had a really good meeting with Schenectady County. Roy Fluman and Paul Sheldon were there, so the county manager and the head of their engineering and department. They are currently working on a project to repave Grand Boulevard, and part of that project includes striping. The original idea was to put a bike lane. They were working on a variety of different ideas, and what they're currently thinking about moving forward with is a parking lane on Grand Boulevard. And they were open to the idea of changing their submittals to the federal government. It's a grant for them, but they need our help. And so what they're asking for us to do is to create a no parking zone on Grand Boulevard so that we'd be able to install a bike lane. I feel like it's similar to when we had to remove the parking on River Road to do the St. Joseph's Crossing. And I am happy to do the heavy lifting. And the Complete Streets Committee has done a formal recommendation to do a bike lane on Grand Boulevard. Happy to do outreach and letters and preparation to people. I did just put some things together for you guys to think about. Putting a bike lane on there aligns with our complete street goals. It's traffic calming because it narrows the visual corridor on the road. And I can even provide studies that show that the installation of bicycle infrastructure will increase property values in a neighborhood. Conversely, if we painted a parking lane on Grand Boulevard, I think that there's a lot of detriment that can happen to that right now. Right now, the parking on Grand Boulevard is very informal. I think people don't realize that you can or can't park, so there's actually very little of it. But if you paint a parking lane on Grand Boulevard, I think you could expect to see a lot more parking on Grand Boulevard. And I am concerned that that may change the character of the neighborhood. Right now, it's very open. The yards are very open. It's very conductive to people walking along the sides of the road, and just designating parking on Grand Boulevard. I really, as a planner, with all of my heart, do not recommend that we do that. So what the idea would be, I think we talked about this at my Economic Development Committee meeting. We would treat it just the way that we treated it like on Plum Street. We could call a public hearing. I can do all the legwork. We can make sure that everybody understands what's happening. And then if we're able to get that through, the county will change their plans and make a bike lane.
Laura, two questions about this. Why did the county submit that for a grant, federal government, to put parking lane on Grand Boulevard?
So they originally submitted as an application to the Transportation Improvement Program, the STIP, through the federal government, Federal Highways Program. And the submittal was to repave Grand Boulevard with bike lane. They did outreach to the Grand Boulevard people with a variety of different options.
In
And
the
it
city
was
of Schenectady,
the county.
Right.
Yeah, the county.
on the county. Okay.
And they got a variety of different comments back. Many people in favor of the bike lane, a number of people that did not want to lose their parking on Grand Boulevard. And so the county decided that they would do a hybrid, which would be a parking lane designated on Grand Boulevard with a Shero. And I apologize that I didn't add that in. A Shero is really not an accommodation in bicycle infrastructure. It's meant to remind people that bicycles share the road. Bicycles actually share the road regardless of whether or not a Shero is painted on the ground. And I like them, but it is definitely not a substitute for a bike lane. I was just talking to Jordan about it because I just wanted to make sure that it was right. I mean, they really only recommend Sheros on streets of less than 25 miles an hour. And Sheros should never be, this is NACTO. NACTO is like the federal guidelines for when you're going to add complete streets treatments. Really anything. But Shero should not be considered as a substitute for bike lanes where space permits. So if you can fit a bike lane, the organization that puts these, recommendations out across the entire country says, put in a bike lane.
So
Don't
the
put in
road
Shero.
is in Niskuna and it is in the city,
Mhm.
right? So two portions of the road. we're going to need to do a lot of outreach.
100%.
A lot of outreach, because a lot of people that lived on that road for a long time, there's people with families, and some people don't have a lot of parking that live on Grand Boulevard.
Yeah,
You know,
just
they've
to
got-
clarify though, the county grant, it goes to the line of city, it doesn't go into the city of Schenectady. So we don't need to do outreach to the city of Schenectady. There's actually a fair amount of on-street parking on Grand Boulevard in the city of Schenectady. That wouldn't change or be touched. We're
So
talking
this is
about,
only the portion in this unit we're
Correct.
speaking about.
yeah, they're not, the county and this, so the county road stops at the city line. County roads don't go into the city of Schenectady. And so it's pretty hard. I experienced this issue on Knott Street, actually, when we were trying to do the sidewalk, that one piece of sidewalk on Knott Street that doesn't connect. The state didn't allow me to use the grant to go across the line from the county to the city. So this grant does not cross that line either.
And a third option would be to just keep it the way it is if people like their parking and not change it.
So a secondary option would be that we just don't stripe the parking lane. And that would be my secondary recommendation. I think striping a parking lane on Grand Boulevard is not a good idea. Once you stripe it, it will be very hard in the future to add any additional bike multi-path infrastructure, and it's going to encourage more parking there. So I think that number one would be get the bike lane in. Number two would be convince the county to stop not paying a parking strip on Grand Boulevard
Okay. Is there a time frame on this?
as soon as possible.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it a lot more difficult. And again, outreach.
Yeah, so I think that as long as we can show the county that that's the goal that we're trying to do, and I do outreach, I've actually just randomly ran into somebody during the natural resource inventory walk with Ashok and some others, our consultant, who happened to live on Grand Boulevard, and it didn't put anything down. I just said, "Oh, did you go to the county's meeting on their repaving project?" And he said, "Yes, I want a bike lane." And I said, "Oh, do you know that they're not actually proposing a bike lane?" And he knew that there was a number of his neighbors that really want a bike lane. So I can reach out to him and he can start communicating to the neighbors that he knows. So I think that the county is actually underestimating how many people want a bike lane on Grand Boulevard. But I do think that outreach letters, I don't mind doing another public hearing. It's the time to do it would be now. If unfortunately we wouldn't be able to pull it together, I still think we should really say no to a parking lane.
I think you could work with Donna on some of the communications.
Mm-hmm.
She can be helpful for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ask both your questions, Bill?
That's
No.
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wanted to know time frame. Want to know about the county, and then you did answer my questions. If
Okay.
I have more,
Yeah, just
I'll
call
be
me.
in your office.
I know it's a heavy lift, but I think it's really worth it if we're willing to try. And then I know I don't have an item, but I just wanted to take more of everybody's time and remind everyone about the Bike-a-Palooza on Saturday. The Complete Streets put it together, and it's going to be really fun. Planning for Places is donating helmets to people. They're a local planning company, residents of the town of Niskayuna. And Uncle Rico's is donating the pizza. Uncle Rico's is one of my favorite places to have lunch, so I'm very excited about that. And then Stewart's is donating ice cream. And the police are donating a police officer to take children around on a bike loop. And the weather, I don't want to jinx myself, looks pretty good. So feel free to share the word.
Laura, just briefly, I want to note the letter from Mohawk Towpath Scenic Byway Coalition that's in the packet, commending your work on implementing the corridor management plan. That goes into what we, voted on to increase up from $600 to $1,000. And I also want to thank you for the work you've done at Aqueduct Park, Lions Park. I mean, we've got two beautiful parks that have waterfront, which is very nice to have in a town. And they're both in really great shape now. And everything that you have done and the department has done with bike paths and everything, interconnected neighborhood paths, to really make Niskayuna more bike pedestrian friendly. is really a big asset. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I did not realize that was on the finance committee. But I think that Beth just knew that that was the right thing to do, or maybe we talked quite a while ago and I forgot already. But I am very appreciative that you guys are willing to vote and approve the towpath. We don't talk about it a lot. It's
Mhm.
actually really a neat thing that we have. And if you're bored someday, which really never happens to any of us, I actually highly recommend reading the quarter plan. One of the things that is really cool about it is that they're trying to make it a tourist destination. And so like when we do things in Rivers Ledge, like, you know, we're going to have, you know, when they build their senior center building, we're going to have like a little restaurant that's right along the multi-use path. And they're also talking about having a little ice cream window. Those things get built into the towpath as like stops. And, you know, it's actually, the towpath is a huge economic driver of tourism in New York State, which we don't even realize goes right through Niskayuna. We don't take a lot of advantage of it, but they're really great to work with. And so the more we think about it and the more we can like make sure that our new developments are cognizant of people using this path, the towpath's actually the road, but it's all connected, it's really neat. The corridor management plan is very cool. I didn't even know that he said anything about it. I didn't help that much with it. They mostly did it by themselves, but I really like it. It's very cool. So
Yeah, and we have a whole new stretch of waterfront now with Aqueduct Park in that area that goes into the casino. That is,
yeah,
just-
that's
yeah,
part
I
of the
mean,
towpath too.
It's great grounds for all kinds of activities. So it's great.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
John.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to police and public safety.
Good evening, everyone. Number 24 is a tentative resolution to appoint a police officer. I don't have a name yet because we're not done with the entire process. But we do have somebody that looks to be a very good candidate that is excited to come here potentially. And as we move through the process, I will get that information to you folks. Number 25 is a resolution to enter into a dangerous dog contract. I'm sure Michelle, we're finally there, right? It's been many of discussions in the Police and Public Safety Committee meeting. For those of you unaware, it's very difficult to find a dangerous dog contract. And we have one that has been presented to us by the Montgomery County SPCA. And it's not just a dangerous dog contract, but it would also act as a backup shelter potentially for animals if we run into another situation, as we did recently with the EPF, where there was an abundance of animals and not enough space at the end. That contract would take us through the end of 2025. It's a little bit more than what we had budgeted for if we were to have to pay the full amount, but it's 6 installments at $2,500 a piece. So it's going to be approximately $10,000. I already spoke with the comptroller about budgeting for that for next year, and it's going to be $5,000 for this year for that contract. Does anyone have any questions about that? This is required by law, by the way. It's something that we should have had a long time ago, but again, here we are, such is life, and we're going to get it done.
Yes. We've been-
Required by law, but can't find anybody to do it.
Correct.
Right? I mean, this is
Very,
supposed to
very,
go-
it's essentially a very expensive insurance policy.
Yeah.
It's not, we don't encounter dangerous dogs all of the time, but as Alina can probably tell you, there has been a substantial increase in animal complaints and calls, including bites that we've been dealing with in the town of Niskayuna recently.
I have more dog cases in court than I do building
Correct.
violations, so.
So it is just on the rise and going up. So thank you to Bruce Hirschenroder, our DCO, for working through the process and being a part of this as well. So number 26 is a resolution to apply for the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant. The number that I applied for was $4,676.88. I'm still waiting for information back. This is a new grant to us. We applied for it last year. That grant is still open. And what I'm not familiar with is whether or not you can apply for this year's grant because it's a 2-year grant window. So 2023 goes to the end of 2025, 2024 would go to the end of 2026. And I sent them correspondence and I asked them, is it okay to still apply even though we still have an open grant? And I'm waiting for their reply, but I believe we are allowed to do that.
Can you
So
repeat that figure?
$4,600, 4676.88.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Any questions?
Nope. Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Okay, and we'll wrap up with Finance and General Government Committee.
Okay, good evening. The first item I have is the resolution to hire a student worker. The second is a resolution to hire a part-time employee in the town's IT department. He's actually a student who was previously an intern. He's graduating and he will be working for us part-time this summer. He was an IT intern last summer, so we're happy to have him back. And finally, I have a resolution for any budgetary modifications that we may need. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that is all we have for tonight's agenda meeting. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned and we will move right into, as soon as everyone gets settled, the special meeting.